is all I have, and all I have to give, I give it all to you. Sing that again. All I am is all I have, and all I have to give, I give it all to you. It's my fragrant oil, my costly perfume. I take my alabaster box and I break it open. Let the fragrance arise, la 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 la, la la la. Let the fragrance arise, la 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 la, la la la. So take every song, every spoken word, all of my dance, all of my rhyme, I give it all to you. It's my fragrant oil, my costly perfume. I take my alabaster box and I break it open. Let the fragrance arise, la 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 la, la 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 la. Fragrance arise, la 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 la, la 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 la. Let the fragrance arise, la 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 la, la 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 la. Let the fragrance arise, la 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 la, la la la. So I pour out all my worship over you, and I sing my song of worship straight to you, and I pour out all my worship over you, and I sing my song of worship, God, straight to you. Oh, I pour out my worship for you. Let the fragrance arise, la 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 la, la 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 la. Let the fragrance arise, la 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 la, la 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 la. Let the fragrance arise, la 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 la, la 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 la. Let the fragrance arise, la 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 la, la 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 la. Spirit break out, break our walls down, Ruach break out, heaven come down, oh. Only one word comes to mind. Only one word to describe. Kodesh, Kodesh, oh Yah Almighty, you are so holy, holy. Oh Yah Almighty, there is no one like you. You are holy, you are worthy of all our praise and all the glory, all the honor, Yah. Oh, we give you praise. Lead us by your Ruach tonight, oh Yah. Show us what you want us to know. Fill us with your Ruach. Open our eyes to our hearts. Father, help us to see your beauty. Oh, help us to see your holiness. 'Cause there's no one like you. No one like you. No. No one like you. No. Oh, you are holy. You are mighty. You're our comforter. And you are wisdom. You are Yah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Donna. Wow. It is always such a great joy to be here with all of you. Welcome to those that have been on the call, and just taking a deep breath to kind of shake off the day. I mean, many of you probably came off from work or making dinner for your family or whatever the time of day it is for you. I know Ren was saying it's in the afternoon for her. She's from New Zealand. And just kind of shaking that off and looking forward to just really spending some great time with you all. And I don't know if you had a chance to read the email, but I had put a thing in the email about how we were going to talk about really characteristics of a spiritual warrior. And I went to bed. I had prepared something, and I went to bed last night, and I wasn't settled. I wasn't settled in my spirit about it. And I woke up this morning, and I knew that I was to give that I was to first off find out where we are all at with our spiritual woman. We can't fight as a spiritual warrior if we're not checking out where we are spiritually ourselves. And so tonight, I thought I would really come to you with the phrase of, how do we build up the spiritual woman within us? And, you know, Yahuah has a move of the Ruach for his people. And your spirit can do that. I think if you really, as we kind of move forward tonight, just kind of think about, we are tripart beings, right? We're spirit, soul, and body. And I just want to, can someone kind of tell me, what is the soul? What is the soul part of us? Could you describe it?
It's our mind, our will, and our emotions.
Yeah.
It's where we live most of the time.
Yeah.
And it's also the only thing that we can sell to the devil.
Wow, that's a thought. So tonight, I'd like to rise up our spiritual woman, and we're going to discuss some of the three parts. And I think by raising up our new spiritual woman, we want to look at maybe starting small. We could start small. If I asked you, where do you think where your spirit is, if I rated it, if you could even rate it, 1 to 10, where would you feel like yours is? What strength do you feel yours is at right now? If you could just put a number between 1 and 10 in the chat for me. Let me see where we're at. 5, good. Good. Great. Mm-hmm. Oh, I love Renee and Miriam, 10. Which one of you? Is that both of you or just one of you?
No, it's both of us.
Awesome.
we're high right now on our cleanse, so
On a juice fast.
on the juice fast only.
Oh, wow. Good for you guys. Oh, I can see why you would be a 10. And Suzanne, 10. Lisa, good.
Wait a second, guys. Wait a second. A 10, that's as high as you can go. That's doing miracles. That's healing. That's raising the dead. Are you guys doing that?
I think we have the ability to. We're not so confident yet, but we believe we have the ability to. Praise
Then
Yahuah.
you're a 9.
Mhm.
I'm just kind of joking, guys.
I know,
Yes,
thank you,
we know.
sweetheart.
It's a great feeling.
Nice
you
to
know?
see you here.
Yep.
But yeah, we do have that authority. Yahushua has given us that authority. We just need to walk in it. But I was thinking, like, if we are feeling like we could be better, maybe we could walk better in our spiritual walk. Maybe that's a good way for me to put it. And I would say that we could start with the small things, like the Sabbath, honoring the Sabbath, which would lead to greater things, which could lead to greater things, could lead to greater things. If we look at just one thing at a time, if we're feeling kind of like, wow, I'm not there yet. But as we walk this out in what Yahuah is asking us to do, our spirit will grow stronger in knowing him. And, you know, our spiritual woman is victorious in Yahushua. We are victorious there. We have to learn how to battle. I mean, we've seen it all around, you know, but we also know that our war isn't against flesh and blood. But usually that's the first thing that we go to. We get into the soul or the flesh. And but this is not where our battles are won in our lives. So we have to learn how to develop or to summon all the powers of the Ruach so that we contend with the war that's at hand. You know, it needs to become kind of like an instinct. Like we don't even have to think about it, that it's an instinct, our primary access to the spirit, especially when trouble comes our way. We don't want to get worked up in our soul. We want our spirit to control our soul, which will then tell our soul how to act. Now, I'm sure that none of you have ever acted up in your soul. None of you. I'm sure. I know I'm probably the only one who has reacted rather than responded. And, you know, but we are all a work in progress. We are all a work in progress. And as we work through this thing, we see that Yahuah had a plan all along. We know that we're tripart beings. I can bring us back to even the garden, how he formed us from the dust, which is our flesh. He took his spirit and breathed into us, and then we became a living soul. And we are a soul because our will resides in our soul. And do you know that we have a choice? We can will our lives to be subjected to Yahuah's spirit. We can will that. But our soul could also have other things that pull us away from him also. Emotions, feelings, even intellect could do that. And I thought we could start out tonight with reading 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 3 through 10. And it says, and even if our gospel is veiled, it is veiled to those who are perishing. All right, so, wow. It is veiled to those who are perishing. Are we perishing? No. In whose case, the Elohim of this world has blinded the minds of the unbelieving, that they might not see the light of the gospel of the glory of Messiah, who is the image of Elohim. For we do not preach ourselves, but Christ, Yeshua, as master, and ourselves as our bondservants for Yeshua's sake. For Elohim, who said, light shall shine out of darkness, is the one who has shone in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of Elohim in the face of Christ. But we have this treasure in earthen vessels. Is that our flesh? Let's talk about flesh. That the surpassing great of the power may be of Elohim, not from ourselves. Is that talking about the spirit? We are afflicted in every way, but not crushed, perplexed, but not despairing, persecuted, but not forsaken, struck down, but not destroyed, always carrying about in the body the dying of Yahusha, that the life of Yahusha also may be manifested in our body. So even right there, we can see that the spirit, soul, and body, he's talking about that. Yah wants to reveal the whole story of restoration to his people, but Satan wants to steal that. He has stolen the mind of a generation. We see it in religion, politics, everywhere. But I wanted to talk about the breakthrough particle that is the light. It is the light that is so bright, it transforms our mind. It transforms our bodies. We know that light is Yeshua, and he is the breakthrough light that can transform any situation we need, but we need to seek him daily in word and in prayer, and realize his transformative power is in these earthen vessels. And we can walk around in that light, but we have to activate it and activate it naturally. You know, in a stressful situation, we want to go naturally to the spirit, not to the soul or the flesh. So the area where the war is most often waged is within our earthen vessels. And we need to transcend the soul and the flesh and have the governorship of the spirit. In other words, we want to be subjected to the spirit. So we need to listen to the still small voice that is within us. We want to have confidence in the spirit, embrace it, and become familiar with it in our lives. So we need to, I often think like the spirit is kind of compared to a muscle. Like the more you work it, the stronger it gets, the more powerful it becomes in our lives. And we have to do something about it. We can't just sit back and say, oh yeah, the spirit of Yah is in me. We need to seek it and actually apply it in our lives. Okay, let's go to back to 2 Corinthians, reading chapter 4, 11 through 17. For we who live are constantly being delivered over to death for Yeshua's sake, that the life of Yeshua also may be manifested in our mortal flesh. So death works in us, but life in you. That having the same spirit of faith, according to what is written, I believe, therefore, I spoke, we all also believe, therefore also we speak, knowing that he who raised the Master Yeshua will raise us also with Yeshua and will present us with you. For all things are for your sakes, that the grace which is spreading to more and more people may cause the giving of thanks to abound to the glory of Elohim. Therefore, we do not lose heart, but though our outer man is decaying, yet our inner man is being renewed day by day. For momentary light affliction is producing for us an eternal weight of glory, far beyond all comparison. While we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. So we need to differentiate between the spirit, the soul, and the outward man, that is the body. And in here, we can see that it talks about the spirit, soul, and body in this chapter. We want to access the primary leading of the spirit so that we can be governed by the spirit man that is within us. We need to look for the things that are not seen, for they are eternal. So we can't see the spirit, but we know that it is with us. We know that she guides us. We know that we can have fruits of the spirit. There's operations of the spirit. We have a lot of things to really apply in our lives in regards to the spirit. But a lot of times, we end up in the soul, with the soulish realm. And we have a lot of wasted time in reacting to what we see, the whole world, because the whole world is built on visuals, which is temporary. I mean, it's built, the visuals are phones, our media, and so little of our time are we preparing to engage in what we don't see, which is the spiritual realm, which is eternal. So we want to really focus on that. We know that our bodies are going to decay. So we need to move into the spirit realm and move away from the active soul and body realm. The world is all about the body and the soul. There's no power there. Yah doesn't want to just deliver us from sin. He wants to deliver us from our natural self, and he wants to deliver you from the supernatural, the wicked, evil principalities that come against you each and every day. And when we understand that, our spirit man will win the battle. Let's see. So let me ask you, when bad or terrifying things happen in your life, do you pause, be still, wait on the Ruach to speak to you, or are you reacting and responding in the flesh? Just think about that. In Genesis 2:7, where it talks about Yah breathed into Adam, he says man became a living soul at that point. And as soon as the breath of life, which became man's spirit, came into contact with his body, he became a living soul. So the soul woman is a combination of our body and spirit. It is the tri-being. And the Bible calls man a living soul because it is the combination of the two. Where the will resides, it is our job to get the will to give authority to the spirit, so that the spirit then guides the soul and the body reacts to that governorship. So we have a choice. We have a choice to choose the will of this. Our soul has the will. Like I can will to obey the spirit of Yahuah. I could obey the still small voice that's telling me not to eat that food. It's not good for me. Or I could go with the soul that says, but it tastes so good. I mean, these are maybe even superficial examples because they could go such more at a deeper level also. But even just in the natural, I think that it is... in the natural, it's easy to listen to your body's cravings or addictions or things like that. But really, we know what is right or wrong from the beginning. Yah has given us that. I think that one of the things that we have to recognize that our soul is going to be, like Beth said, our feelings, our emotions, our intellect. It is something that wants to take over the spirit that was in us. The spirit is what Yahuah places in us that knows right from wrong, that is connected with Yahuah. And we will talk in a minute about there are 3 things that we can really develop to strengthen our spirit. Okay. So let me just go back to the breathing. The in-breathing of Yah's breath brought about twofold, the soul, this realm, and the spirit realm. But when Yah's in-breathing reacted with man's body, which of course came from the dust, it became the spirit of the man. So the spirit of the man is the candle. Anyone know that scripture offhand? The spirit of the Lord is the candle.
Yes, the spirit of the man is the lamp unto Yahuah. That's a beautiful
Yes.
That's the one you're looking at. It's Psalm something, right, sister?
Yeah, it's Proverbs. Yeah,
Proverbs?
it's in Proverbs. And so, yes, that light of us is the spirit.
Yes.
Also, Yahusha in us. All right.
Proverbs 27. Yeah, that's the one. Yep.
Mhm. So, so before the fall of Adam and Eve in the garden, there was a perfect blending of three natures. And the key word is a perfect blending of the three natures. After the sin, then things got kind of out of control. And so, but we want to go back to that place where we can be, have a perfect blending of those things, of our spirit, soul, and body. The work of Yahuah has for us the work that Yahuah has for us as living souls is to keep the spirit and the body in their right relationship. In their right relationship. The problem is that we're not, and that is where we're as believers. But what is the right relationship? Because the lowest is the body, and it must be subjected to the spirit, and the spirit must govern the body, and the only way that it can happen is if you will it, which is your soul. So I will my body to line up with the spirit. That would be an example of that. I mean, it kind of sounds simple, but it's really not. I mean, we can look at it, you know, in our own lives, maybe even today. And sometimes we have to change our will. We have to say, I do not will to do that. I do not will to do that. I'm choosing to follow Yahuah's commandments. I'm choosing to observe Yahuah's feasts. I'm choosing to walk in love. And sometimes I just thought I'd bring this up too, that sometimes our soul wants to take over with our intellect. Like, I know a lot of scriptures, or I know a lot of Hebrew, or I've got a lot of knowledge. I've got a lot of intellect. And really the intellect is more of a soulish realm. We want to be careful. It is good to know, but we want to be careful with that. If we just build up the intellect, the soul then, our flesh gets stronger, not our spirit, if we're just doing that. And that's where I wanted to bring back, is that we need to pray and know his word, both. In order for the spirit to govern the soul, order for the spirit to govern, the soul must give its consent. The spirit cannot act on the body by itself. It has to have the soul's cooperation. Your will has to submit and say, yes, spirit, govern my life. Govern my life. When the soul is willing to be humbled, then the spirit can manage the whole man. Is your soul humbled? Is your soul willing to be humble? You know, Yahuah really does not like pride. You know, above all sins I think is pride, because it keeps the soulish man in like a childish carnal state where the spirit is silenced. It's all about them. It's pretty much, pride, it can just be about self. So the spirit is designed to interact with the spiritual world, and the body is designed to act with the natural world. And the soul lets the decisions be manifested. The soul lets the decisions be manifest, the will. The soul stands in between, exercising its power to discern and decide whether the spiritual or natural will reign. Because the spirit is holy. It's the holy part of man, and it should be in control of us, right? So the problem is the will. The will is crucial, and that belongs to the soul. So because the soul presses so much power, that is why Yah calls us a living soul. The soul possesses the will, which can lead us to the carnal realm or the spiritual realm. I want to understand that we need to build up the spiritual man within us. There's a lot of scriptures that confirm that. And we need to worship in spirit and in truth. And the truth is grounded in the Torah. Yeah, Jean? You're muted.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I just was thinking about, all this, what you were saying was so much reminded me of Matthew's Bane Betwixt teaching, where the rungs of the ladder represent something that our flesh wants to do, like, controlling what our eyes see, or controlling what, smells, overcoming, the five senses basically. And you're ascending up the ladder as you're going, because even though your body may feel in pain, you can't let it take you away from dwelling in the spirit. Or just because something else doesn't taste that good, that doesn't mean that because it's clean foods that we're giving up things that are delicious. And I never liked lobster. I had it once, but some people love that, and you have to give it up for it, and you have to be willing to give it up for it, and you never do, just don't keep doing it kind of thing. But those five senses give us tangible things to not let our mind, our decision making, be based on the desires of our flesh. And I just kept thinking about that as you were reading that stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, and that is so true. That is very good. And that, like watching what we see, like protecting our eyes or our bodies from unseen things, that is freeing our spirit to move in that spiritual realm, not be distracted by, maybe what we're seeing or what we're eating, or, and there's a lot more distraction than that, even our emotions. Our children could flare up some of those soulish kind of feelings, right? But how we respond to our children is we want to have our spirit. We can practice in a very simple way of rising our spirit above our soul by how we respond to our children. If they're doing something wrong and our immediate reaction might be to yell, we could take control of that, right? Our yelling may be an example of the soul, or flesh, how, reacting, not responding in the correct way. So right there is an example of strengthening our spiritual woman. Thank you, Jean. Natanya?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I was having severe tinnitus. I get tinnitus. I'm pretty sure I have osteoporosis of the skull. My teeth are going bad. I have 8 children, so giving birth to 8 children. And so I think it's robbed the calcium, because I had a Pepsi addiction for years and years through that as well. And so the last 3 days, my head has been ringing constantly. And the last, today, I guess, yesterday I started juicing carrot and spinach and carrot and celery in between when I would eat any kind of meal, which now I'm just eating fish again with some kind of vegetable, but at least 2 to 3 glasses of it's concentrated. It's a good juicer. So it's real concentrated, and it only took the second day and the tinnitus stopped. And so I hadn't been eating real well before then. So, and I could just feel it when I drank the cup of the stuff. My whole body felt like it lit up, I just whoa, that tastes so good. And it's the first time that I've actually drank one of the juices like that and wanted it, enjoyed the whole cup. If I could do that all, full time, rather than, I've also got a thing for the Reese's peanut butter cups, since I got my sense of taste back. And I think that's been part of what, my sugar levels getting uneven and craving too much sugar. And so I think the sugar brings me down. When I get with the sugar, then I feel weighty, I feel heavy. But when I drank that juice, I just felt light and lifted and alive, like inside. And so I could definitely see where that would raise, when Renee and Miriam were talking about being at a 10 when they were juicing. I would like to get to that point. There was also something else I was trying to make a comment on, about the radio, taking the radio out of my truck. I had my husband take it out so I could hear the spirit more often, because I had a tendency, and everybody did, to want to hear something. And so that was, a couple of years ago, took it out of the Suburban. I don't drive much right now, but for a while it made a huge difference. And now I find where I used to have the radio on or something playing all the time, I get tired of hearing all that side noise, because I can't hear from the spirit. I do, when I get quiet, a lot of quiet time, I can, it really comes in a whisper, just like scripture says. I think that's why the devil bombards us, like when I'm at the grocery store with the music, sometimes I'll be playing the stuff that's just like, stop already. And, trying to drag me back into some place in my past where I would have more negative clothing. I'm reading somebody's thing on the side here. More negative feelings, rather than, maybe interacting with somebody or giving somebody a vaccine info card, or, doing something positive for the kingdom. It'll sidetrack me and get me wrapped into that place I was, 20, 30 years ago. But I just wanted to comment about the juice, because I can definitely tell. And like I did start vaping over a year and a half, about a year and 4 months ago. And the difference in being able to smell now, I can smell sin. I can, even a cigarette just stinks something horrible now. Where I think when I was smoking, I couldn't tell the difference a lot of times when it comes to my sense of smell, about what sin, what different things were sinful. I will actually try to avoid breathing chemicals and stuff like that. When I'm working more, I'll make sure windows are open and those kind of things, because it blocks so much. I lost so much of my discernment when I lost my sense of smell from that. And so that was a blessing as well, being able to get that sense back. I feel like I'm heightened, perfume, artificial perfume with all the chemicals. Now it just smells like sin. It doesn't smell good like it used to, so, but I wish fast food stinks. I can smell the sin in it now, the burnt oils and all that, but there's still certain things that still draw me in, but I just want to share that. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Tanya. I mean, that is an example. Sometimes it's baby steps. Sometimes it's like cut things off right away. We just, what we're talking tonight about is strengthening the inner spirit within us, that we can be prepared and confident to fight these spiritual battles that are going to be coming our way. And one of the things that I've been praying lately is, Yahuah, may my inner spirit overtake my outer body. And I lay there in bed, and I do this before I even wake up, and I'm like, I'm waiting. I'm waiting, Father, because I know that I can't do it by myself. I need him to direct me, and I need to hear. And so I can't be talking all the time. I have to wait. I have to wait on him. And it doesn't always, I'm like, okay, well, I mean, maybe I'm there like, I don't know, let's just say 10 minutes. And I'm like, I got to get up. And so I'll get up and I'll start my day. And then all of a sudden I get an impression, in my spirit about something that I need to do or that I need to take care of. And but I pray that I would be able to do that throughout my day. But right now, I'm purposely doing that in the morning. So I am. I desire that inner spirit to become stronger. Stephanie.
Yeah, that's really good, how you worded that. So going back to like I guess like verbally lashing or anger, you know, like setting the example for your children. Obviously, what I'm at, you know, no matter what age, you obviously don't want them screaming back at you, right? So you don't want to yell at them, right? So you want to do unto others as they do unto you. So with everything, you kind of want to have a very soft spoken voice so that they can pick that up and carry that on. So that's one thing I just wanted to say, is just to do unto others as you want to be done to you. So just carry that through, you know, to be slow to anger and to be simple-minded, not simple-minded, but just, how do I say this? Like a simple answer. What's the scripture? I think it's in Proverbs. What's the scripture that says a simple answer turns away wrath? So that's kind of like how you could approach something like that.
Right, which is, there you go, knowing his word, a gentle answer. Thank you, Cynthia. Knowing his word and speaking that over our lives, that is strengthening our spirit. Strengthening our spirit. Julia, you have your hand raised?
Yeah, Netanya, what I'm talking about is the word says the tongue, though it may be the smallest member, it's the most powerful, for life and death are in it. And you also know the scripture that in Isaiah it said, by his stripes we are healed, but in the gospel it says, by his stripes we were healed. You spoke that you have something, tinnitus or whatever. And so that's why I wrote to Tamara, can we renounce what Netanya spoke over herself? Because Abba wants us whole, and you can walk in that. So it's very important that we don't speak things into existence, into our world, into our bodies, into our temples. That's what I was referring to.
Right. So it's not to deny that things are happening or going on within us. We don't deny that, but we just don't claim it. So I could say I've had symptoms of such and such, or I had, but you know, and then, but it's going away. I know Yah's going to answer that prayer. So standing in that confidence. And that to me is even more of strengthening our spirit with the words that we say. I'm just going to finish up this last little bit here. I wanted to touch on that there were three main functions of the spirit and the conscience. Now, I looked up the word conscience, and conscience is the guide to the right, a guide to the righteous or wrongness of one's behavior. So the three main functions of the spirit is consciousness, meaning that we know what is right and what is wrong. And even in the scriptures in Deuteronomy 2:30, it talks about Yah hardened his spirit. You know, in Psalms 34:18, he saved the crushed in spirit. Psalms 51, he puts a new and right spirit within me. The crushed spirit can be renewed by communion with Yahuah. So there's that conscience, am I saying that right? I think so. And then there's the intuition. So the intuition, or some people say it is the still small voice that is in there, in our selves, that guides and directs us. This in Mark, it says Yeshua preserving in his spirit. Or in John 11:33, it talks about he was deeply moved in spirit. Deeply moved, meaning that there was something that made him do this or do that. And then the third one is communion with Yah. humbled and broken. When we're humbled and broken, this is where communion is. And in Luke 1:47, it says, my spirit rejoices in Yahuah, who is my Savior. And John 4:23, true worshipers worship in spirit and in truth. And I just think that in communion, when we are in communion with Yahuah, we will hear his voice. We have the most intimate time to be with him. It is a time where we can be strengthened in him. And I think that one of the things that I wanted to do today is I really encourage you to build up your spirit woman inside you through willing your soul to let that spirit woman rise up and be strengthened. So we're going to spend just a couple of minutes. I learned a new feature on Zoom, and we're going to go into some breakout rooms. And just give me a minute. There are some questions that are going to be 3, 4, okay, that some facilitators have, that they will be, that I would like you guys to discuss, maybe get to know each other first, your name, where you're from, how are you feeling? Does your spirit override your soulish realm? Just kind of some good questions to ponder on here.